I saw this clip pop up. Joy Reid, who was fired from MSNBC, many folks were upset about this. Maybe she was going a little bit too hard. I'm not sure which topics she was on when she departed MSNBC, but I think maybe she was getting a little bit too real about the actual situation with the Middle East, the disruptions there, our effect on them. This is what I mentioned earlier, you guys. She had a full explanation as to a reason why maybe some of these folks don't like overseas policy, and outside of just the childlike thought process of, yo, they just don't like us. Please listen to this very closely.
Understand that the United States plays an important role in the world. I am thrilled that the United States is trying to police the proliferation of nuclear weapons. Imagine what the world would look like if it was otherwise. And I think that to throw away our moral voice
would still be the only country that has ever bombed another country with nuclear weapons. And let me ask you one question. Why did the Iran hostage crisis take place?
So certainly,
I'm asking you
fundamentalist radicals took over the government who hate the West.
Why did they take over the government? Why?
Because they're religious jihadis who want to eliminate Western society.
They hate our way of life. They hate our way of life.
Or they overthrew the Shah of Iran, who we imposed on Iran because the Dulles brothers, one at the CIA and one at the State Department, decided that the oil beneath the soil of Iran belonged to BP and belonged to us. And when Mossadegh, who was the leader of Iran, the democratically elected leader of Iran, said that we would like to audit BP because we want to know if you are cheating us or paying the people of Iran based on the oil under their soil. And they said, you may not audit us. And then we overthrew him and he wound up dying in prison because we decided that we, in our arrogance as a country, got to own their oil.
And
wait a minute, no, one moment. And so the hatred of the United States had to do with the hatred of the Shah, who brutally repressed the people of Iran for 26 years until he was overthrown within Iran because he was not their natural king. They didn't want a king any more than we wanted a king. The bottom line is the arrogance of the United States' foreign policy. We act as if people act in a vacuum, and that nothing we do has ever led to the hatred of us in other countries. And I'm not saying that hostages should be taken, but you just said because they hate our freedoms. Well, that's BS.
No, they hate the West.
She went in on a significant, almost 2-minute explanation, clear, concise, and based on history as to why maybe other countries that were still currently killing their innocent civilians on a daily basis might not like us. There's always been this line. I remember when I first got into political talk in 2003, 2002, Iraq War came in. And it was, they hate us because they hate us. Joe Scarborough said that back when he was a Republican. They hate us because they hate us. It's the most childlike thought process ever. But that's how we run our country. They hate us just because we're who we are. They hate us because we're the greatest. They hate us because of all of this. And they completely ignore the history behind everything. The people that have issues with the country, that are Americans, that live here, the issues that we have many times, it's based on history. It's based on what the government has done to people. It's based on what the establishment has done to certain people, based on who they are, where they come from. As we're talking right now, as you hear Donald Trump flip-flopping back and forth over regime change, guarantee he doesn't have any idea what previous regimes were, what current regimes are, and why we've gotten to where we are. All he knows is they're lesser than me. I can bomb them and they get in a line. And he says it explicitly. And again, these folks that are supposed to be smart are on TV. And their answer is, well, the reasons why they hate us is because they're jihadist terrorists that want to see us dead. The 3-year-old kid that you dismembered and killed, he's a jihadist terrorist that wants you dead. Maybe his father wants you dead because you dismembered him. You know, if in this country, one of the big scare tactics that politicians use is some illegal is going to run up in your house and kill your kid. If that happened, wouldn't you be against them? Wouldn't you be against anybody, as you guys are now, anybody that looks like them? Because that's what policy is based off of right now. There's mass deportations when you're separating families, and when you're going after a 67-year-old man who's gardening or something, or driving his car to work, or waiting for work somewhere else because they look wrong, because you've told enough people the lie that these immigrants are coming up and stealing your children out of your house. You want them out of the country, and you don't even care if they don't have due process. You don't care if they're assaulted on the streets. You don't care if they're murdered. You don't care if they're disappeared from any existence that they used to have. The Supreme Court just supported this guy and wanting to send folks to third countries that maybe they've never even been to, that are big on torture and big on imprisoning people just because.
In a brief, unsigned order, the court clearing the way for the Trump administration to swiftly deport migrants to countries where they have no previous ties, known as third countries. Previously, a lower court ruled that migrants should have a, quote, meaningful opportunity to bring claims that they would be at risk of torture, persecution, or death if sent to these third countries. The ruling immediately applies to a group of men the administration seeks to send to South Sudan. All three liberal justices dissented, calling the ruling an abuse of the court's power. The majority did not provide explanation for its ruling.
That's what we're legitimizing right now. We're repeating the same process. So you can't even deny that we do things like that. We're doing it right now. So many people that you're calling subhuman and that you'll send off to other countries and you'll separate from their families, people that contribute to our society, they don't like you anymore. And the reason that they'll say, not because we've destroyed their families, their lives, and killed their loved ones, it's because they just don't like our freedoms. That sounds like white supremacy. If you don't see it, you're plugging your ears and you're closing your eyes. It just is what it is. And if you're a white person and you don't want to see it, it's not about you. You can be a part of being against that. White supremacy is a group of white folks that believe in this type of mindset, and it's flooded into all kinds of government, all kinds of leadership positions in the country. They're all over the place, and they're constantly trying to re-implement that. That's what Make America Great was. That's what it was about. That's what it's always been about. It's why it was the slogan that Klan members walked up and down the street back in our civil rights era did the same way. Make America great again for certain kinds of people that are better than others. Donald Trump just called these folks schoolyard children that are fighting and just let them fight each other with some missiles every once in a while. Then we'll drop huge bombs because we're the strongest and they'll all shut up. So just because Joanne Reid goes on TV and tells you guys the real actual basis for the reasons why some folks may not like us and say things like, yo, the great evil, the whatever the terms are that they're so afraid of, it's maybe because there was some evil things that we did to them in the past that aren't that long ago. You have to take away people's humanity in order to not pay attention to their grievances, to their humanity, to their connections to their families, to their connection to their previous generations, to them being obliterated from existence. You have to not pay attention to their humanity. Oddly, the same way the Nazis did to Jewish folks. But we're back in this country that's trying to do it to other folks. Weird how that works. We've got to this point where people are cornered, and we know that. The whole point is cornering people. What do you think folks are supposed to do? It's survival now. But the folks who are dropping the bombs aren't the savages. The folks that are killing innocent people aren't the savages for some reason because they're the ones dropping the bombs. And if you don't listen to them, they pull a gun out and stick it in your face. I call that a thug. Weird how that works. A robber can come up in your house and stick a gun in your face and give me everything you got, and he's a bad guy. We can do that backed by the government, and it's not a bad guy thing to do. Why?